this is Oscar Mikey and welcome to this Albania start guide for Europa Universalis 4 on Ironman difficulty. This is certainly one of the more challenging openings for U4 and one of my more epic videos. True to form in this guide, everything that can go wrong will go wrong. However, succeeding in a worst case scenario aims to show the adaptability of this guide. As always, thanks for watching. Alright folks, this is starting point. Let's talk about opening. First thing we want to do is split up our main fleet into 3 constituent parts. I'm going to sell it off to any would-be customer, keeping 2 ships remaining because we're going to need those ships. It's vitally important that you keep at least 1 ship for the late part of this playthrough. So first thing we're going to do, split up the fleet into 3 parts, like I said. Go to our first would-be customer, Byzantium. They're going to buy ships because they're below their max naval force limits. We're going to sell our first fleet, which consists of 2 trade ships, 1 galley and 1 cog to Byzantium for 50 ducats. And we're going to go to Genoa, that likewise is below their total naval force limit. So we're going to sell our second fleet, which consists of 3 galleys and 2 cogs, and they should accept 40 ducats for it, keeping our last fleet of 1 galley and 1 cog in Albania, which we're going to mothball to save money. So we'll gain in total 90 ducats. There we go, we've mothballed the fleet. Next thing we're going to do, recruit 4 Bardice regiments in Albania. Do not recruit mercenaries. Assign our leader to our army. Pick mission, improve prestige. We want to rival Serbia and rival Ragusa. Oftentimes you won't be able to rival Ragusa. Set our national focus to military, extremely important. And our state system, we immediately want 50 military power, which we're going to take. Very important that you take that 50 military power option while you can, and that you set your national focus to military. Absolutely critical, because that's going to allow us to close out this playthrough. We'll set our heir as general. He's got +1 siege. That's extremely useful for us. That's going to help us for the purposes of this guide. So we sold our fleet for total 90 ducats. Now, it's going to take our diplomat 6 days to get back from Constantinople, which is good, because in the 7th day, we're going to immediately declare war on Serbia. If you do not declare war on Serbia by the 7th day, they'll ally Bosnia and this guide won't work. So we immediately declare war and send our army into Kosovo. Appreciate this guide is fairly fast-paced at the moment. Thanks for keeping up with me, but it does slow down a little bit in the mid-game and then picks up again by the late game. So it's important to mention as part of this guide, we're going to expand rapidly and we're not going to sacrifice our starting province Albania. We'll be keeping all the territory and we won't be suing for peace on anything but favourable terms. Now, this is very important. We're looking through all the major powers of Europe and we're looking for nations that start with us above 20 relations. So you see here Poland starts with +28 improved relations with us. Austria does likewise, so we're going to send diplomats to improve relations with those countries. Now we're going to immediately take 1 regiment, split it off, set it in Taraska. Just 1 regiment, that'll bait in the enemy army from Serbia. If they take the bait, we immediately reinforce. Reason why we do that is that allows us to fight a defensive battle. And we will reinforce with 1 day to spare. We fight a defensive battle, imposing a -1 modifier on the enemy. You can do that with Nice as well. The reason I choose Raska is because it is mountains as opposed to forest, which imposes an additional negative modifier in combat width. It doesn't make any practical purpose because we're not exceeding the maximum combat width. So either province will work. So we're going to win this army easily. Now you can see here, Serbia did rule a 5-star general, a 5-star shock general, which is identical to our own. Now that's very unlucky, hopefully from your playthroughs. Serbia will not have a 5-shock general, but this just makes it all the more challenging and proves the practicality and adaptability of this guide. So we're going to win these battles easily, pursue their retreating army and aim to stack wipe it. All the while reinforcing, sending our newly recruited regiment into Kosovo to preclude them from reinforcing. Hopefully we'll be able to stack wipe them in this battle, if not the next. Hopefully. Nope, we're going to have to run them down one more time. We'll move through into Raska. All the while reinforcing with those regiments. So very important. We're recruiting Bardice regiments in Albania, all infantry. We're going to split up our army and occupy all their provinces. If you recruit mercenaries at this point in the game, you'll starve your treasury and you won't be able to finish out this guide. So it has to be Bardiche regiments. And focus now on occupying all their provinces with the exception of their capital. We're not going to be able to take down the fortification right now, because it's a 3-star level fort, which means we need 9,000 men to siege. We don't have sufficient troops at the moment because we've lost many from those battles. So we have to wait until we reinforce. Ottomans warns us, that's fine. Just reinforcing for the meantime. Now we're gonna, because we're not gonna have sufficient time to wait for all our troops to reinforce up until our max force limits, which is 9,000. It looks like we're gonna have to recruit a mercenary regiment, destroy any reinforcing Serbian army, and we want to detach one regiment from Nice and ensure that Raska can't reconvert to their territory. That's because they have a nearby fortification. And we're just waiting for our troops to replenish, building them up to full strength, and biding our time. Assign our leader. Break off one troop. We'll send in 2 armies simultaneously. They'll attack at the exact same time. And we stack wipe that army as well. And then we're going to retreat because we don't have sufficient troops yet to besiege their capital. So we don't want to take any additional attrition, so we just bide our time. So again, because we've suffered troop losses, we're going to have to hire a mercenary unit. Which we've done in Raska. So we've 9,000 troops. We'll wait until we reoccupy Nice, and then we'll begin the siege of their capital province. Things seem to be going okay for the moment, but as anyone who's attempted to start before will know, Venice has a court on Albania, and Venice will certainly declare war on you prior to be able to close out the war with Serbia. So we're waiting for that eventuality. Oftentimes Bosnia will do the exact same thing. Our manpower's already quite low, but that's fine. National epic, accept. You can still see by selling our fleet for 90 ducats, we have quite good financial reserves. That's going to allow us to sustain this large army for quite some time. We're just waiting to siege down this province. And this is what you should anticipate. Venice has declared war upon us. And we're ready for that, but we're prepared. So the first thing we're going to do, pause the game, recruit a mercenary unit in Albania, 1 infantry unit, that's all you need. And you're going to see why that's important in a moment. I want to make it absolutely clear that we have no intention to be defeated by any power for the purposes of this guide. Now, this is unfortunate. A 10,000-man noble army rebel rose up in rebellion in the Serbian capital province. Hopefully this will not happen in your playthrough. This is certainly a worst-case scenario. Not only did Serbia gain a 5-shot general, but we've just been hit by a 10,000-man army in Serbia of noble regiments, so they're better than peasants, and they had a leader. So that is a big problem. But have faith. So you can see Venice will immediately launch an amphibious landing in Albania. All we do is scorch earth and disband that mercenary unit. That was the sole purpose of that mercenary unit. We won't be able to recruit it in time, both to scorch earth the province and evacuate. So we recruit 2 additional Bardiche mercenary regiments in Raska and Nice and send them to reinforce Serbia. This part of the guide is all about speed. We need to besiege down the capital province Serbia quickly. We should be able to do that. Because we've scorched earth Albania, in all probability you'll be able to siege down the Serbian province before Venice can siege down the Albanian province, even though they do of course have a blockade up. It's all about scorching that earth, and you'll see why in a moment. If Venice occupies Albania, they'll gain their war goal, they'll gain ticking war score, they'll got your economy, and then they'll immediately start counter-attacking your other occupied provinces. So in this guide, it is absolutely unacceptable to allow Venice to siege down your capital province, Albania. Now this is a problem. Venice now has 17,000 troops in Albania, but that's fine, we're prepared for that, don't worry about that at all. Again, if you're playing exactly how I'm playing, then Venice should have declared war and they'll send all their troops into Albania. And don't worry about taking loans. Take as many loans as you need. So, as anyone will know, attacking into Albania through Zeta, Kosovo or Uskup will impose a -2 penalty to an attacking army because it's a river crossing and I believe it's mountainous. Yep, it's mountains. So we sieged down the Serbian capital province, which is good. We're going to want to immediately sue for peace with Serbia. Bearing in mind that this is a worst case scenario. Already gone up against 10,000 rebel troops. A 5-shock Serbian general. So we're going to move our troop. And we're going to do what would seem suicidal. We're going to send our 10,000 man army and immediately attack into Albania and prevent them from besieging down our fortifications. Now that seems to you suicidal, right? We're attacking into superior numbers against bad ground with a -2 modifier because of the mountains and the river crossing. However, although we are outnumbered, one of the added bonuses of attacking into mountains and a river crossing is that has the effect of constricting the combat width. So despite the fact that we're outnumbered, it's not going to count for anything. We're going to be fighting in even terms, accepting the fact that we're suffering a -2 modifier to our rolls. So we'll fully annex Serbia, take as much money as we can, seek to reduce war exhaustion, all the while building up those crucial military tech points. So we've got our general, we're going to immediately attack into Albania. It's a river crossing, that's -1. It's mountains for a combined total of -2. But like I said, mountains and river crossing reduce combat width, which means that Venice's extra 7,000 troops count for nothing. We'll be fighting as though our numbers are equal. So we're going to attack, and if we get average rolls, so we lose the first roll, 3 to 6, fire phase. Lose the second roll, 0 to 1 in the shock phase. Lose the third roll, 6 to 8 in the fire phase. Win slightly the second shock phase. Lose the next fire phase. Lose the next shock phase. We lose 1 out of, I think it's 6 rolls, and we still win the battle. So we're going to pursue that retreating army. They're reinforcing in Zeta. Absolutely critical for the purposes of this guide that any reinforcing army they send via the sea is immediately intercepted. So to prevent that army reinforcing quicker, we sent our 2 ships that we had mothballed from the start, and we sacrifice it into their fleet. That also has the effect of preventing their army from retreating partially via the coastal tile. So just to go over that again, so we're going to defeat this army that had an amphibious landing. Should mop it up easily. Yeah, just to go over that again, the reason we won the battle in Albania is because the reduced combat width meant that their extra numbers counted for nothing. We lost 7 out of 8 rolls, including every shock roll, and we still won the battle. So we're going to pursue them into Dalmatia. And that's important because there's 2 angles from which Venice attacks us. They're not going to accept anything short of us ceding Albania for the purpose of the guide at this point, but that's fine. Pursue the retreating army and return because they're launching another amphibious attack into Albania. At this point, you'd be well advised to keep abreast of Gadurian's maxim, which is strike hard, strike quickly, and don't disperse your forces. That's exactly what we're going to do, and it's a common theme of all my EU4 guides. Keep my army combined, focus on wiping out the enemy army in the field. The only number we should be concerned with is their enemy troop number. So that's a vassal of Venice. I believe that's Naxos. They're going to reinforce. We're going to wipe it out. Of course, since we fully annexed Serbia, we're going to seek to immediately call those provinces. I'm going to win this battle despite losing all the rolls. That's another enemy army stat right. All the while boosting our prestige, which helps our total morale, which is going to allow us to win subsequent battles. Things seem to be going okay at the moment. Consolidate your regiments when you have to. Thought it'd be worthwhile to disband a mercenary regiment that was in low strength, because we didn't need it for the meantime. Keep improving our relations, ever mindful of the fact that if we do win this war, we're going to have to immediately seek some alliances to prevent us from being attacked by the Ottomans. So we can request military access from Hungary. To pursue any retreating Venetian armies. So by no means have we had much luck in this playthrough so far, but I'm sufficiently confident about the ruggedness of this strategy that even if things go awry, you'll be able to win. So we're going to seek that military access from Hungary. Venice is going to reinforce into Lika. Now the reason why I put our army in Dalmatia is that allows us to reach Albania in time for any amphibious landing, and also allows us to interdict any reinforcing Venetian army. So they're going to move from Lika. We can't attack into 9,002 regiments. Excuse me, 10 regiments I think they have, and also we move into Hum. And due to our superior maneuver of a general, we're going to be able to move into Bosnia or defend Hum before Venice can overrun the province. That's going to allow us to fight a defensive battle, which we will take. We're outnumbered, but this time we have a -3 modifier to an attacking force. Our rolls seem to be pretty average. We're winning most of our rolls, which is good. Losing in the shock phase though, which is bad. Yeah, so for the most part in this guide, we're more or less losing every shock phase. So by no means am I getting lucky here. I'm going to pursue that army into Dalmatia. And we're obstructed due to the fortification in Dalmatia, so that's fine. We're not going to be able to pursue it further. Venice will still not accept peace. The only condition is that we cede Albania. They would accept that, but we're going to keep our we're going to keep our capital province. We're not going to give anything away as part of this strategy guide. Slowly building up our relations with Austria, Poland, and Hungary. Don't bother trying to form alliances with anything weaker than an Austria-type nation. You need some superpowers. Now you see, again, Naxos is going to launch another ill-fated attack into Albania. Because I wasn't paying attention, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to interdict him in time. We're going to have to fight an offensive battle. But due to our high prestige, we've got a lot of additional bonus morale. That's allowing us to stack right the enemy army, suffering minimal casualties. And if this was your playthrough, hopefully you'd be doing the same, and you'd just be biding your time, all the while increasing your military technology, waiting for that critical military tech level 4. So Venice attacks again into Albania. They like to do this. This is a common theme. We reinforce our army, seek to interdict them. We'll arrive simultaneously, but because we have superior maneuver, we get there first, despite arriving the same day, and we defeat that army. All the while coring those additional provinces that we conquered. War exhaustion is high. Reduce your war exhaustion when you feel you have to. Try and keep it below 5. Don't aim to repay any of your loans at the moment. Bearing in mind, the reason we had to take out so many loans is because we fought against that 10,000 man rebel noble army in Serbia. That certainly frustrated our grand plans. so we're still at war. Things seem to be going okay-ish. You can probably easily see by now how this guide's going to evolve. We're just going to focus on beating up Venice, not necessarily capturing any of our provinces. Improvements in naval technology, take the diplomatic power, be useful for reducing war exhaustion. And core Serbia when we can, so it costs 134 administrative power. Immediately seek to core it. Fully improve relations with Poland, that's good. And seek to improve relations with Austria. And Bosnia has declared war on us, so this is another eventuality you have to be prepared for. Not only have we fought Serbia, but we're now simultaneously fighting Bosnia and Venice and Naxos, being a Venetian vassal. So seek to interdict that army, get there before we're not able to do so. For the purpose of your playthrough, make sure that when you're keeping your army static and you're anticipating an enemy attack, make sure you keep your army in Raska. That means when and if Bosnia declares war upon you, you'll be able to reinforce Serbia or Zeta before they have the time to attack that province. That'll give you defensive modifiers and allow you to win the battle easily. And here comes a 10,600 man Venetian army. That's a lot of troops. We must be outnumbered about 4 to 1 in terms of our total troop number. They're still not going to accept peace. War will have to go on for a lot longer. But all the while we're biding our time, slowly building up a military technology level. You see we have 622 military monarch points. We're not going to take that battle with Zeta. Excuse me, in Zeta. We're going to move into Albania. Get there in the same day. Due to our general superior maneuver, we get the high ground. It looks like we're losing most of these walls as well, but we have a -3 modifier to the attacking force. And despite taking egregious casualties, we're going to win this battle. We're battered, we're bruised, but we're not out yet. We're still going strong. Now, we're going to have to take loans and we're going to have to buy regiments. That's mercenary regiments. And the reason why we're going to have to do that is because if the Bosnian army successfully sieges down Serbia, then that's going to be a really big problem for us. So we're going to have to counterattack. Pursue this retreating Venetian army. See if we can stack wipe it. And unfortunately, there's another 6,000 man regiment in Hum. So that's a problem. Starting to see a theme here, going up against overwhelming numbers from all sides. So we'll hire those mercenary regiments. They still have 12,000 troops, although part of that are troops with 0 morale. And they still won't accept peace. But we're not done yet. It seems hopeless. Our situation seems hopeless. But don't worry. We want to replenish our army insofar as we're able. Hire whatever mercenaries we can. Focus on infantry, although we're going to want to hire a mercenary cavalry regiment soon, because we're down to 575 cavalry, which is insufficient to make a material difference in these battles. So we're going to have to do something I really could have and should have avoided. We're going to have to attack headlong into that Bosnian army who are besieging down Serbia. You see that the castle's at 0%. So we have no choice. We cannot allow them to successfully besiege Serbia. Because if they do, in order to win the war, we're going to have to siege down not only the castle in Serbia, but Bosnia's 2 castles in their capital province, Bosnia, and Visoki. And successfully completing 3 sieges is not pragmatic. It'll bankrupt us. So, Keeping up the pressure, Venice decides to attack once again. This time they're attacking Zeta, which is a shame because Zeta is 98.4% cord. Just a real shame. So we're going to build up those mercenaries. We're recruiting 2 new mercenary troop regiments. To afford it, we pick loans. Serbian culture has been accepted, that's good. That will reduce unrest and increase taxes from those conquered provinces. And we're just going to marshal up our army, aiming for about 8,000 or 9,000 troops. So we're going to attack into Serbia, ignore the Venetian army for now. Attack headlong into Serbia, can't let them besiege down this province. Now you can see we're getting horrific rolls here, 1 to 7 in the shock phase. But it's sufficient to win the battle. And we're going to pursue down that army if possible, named Stack Wipe It. Venice keeping up the pressure, sending another 10,000 troops into Albania, of course. Keeping up the pressure, aiming to stack wipe the Bosnian army. Unfortunately, because it's going to be the end of the month, and this is a problem, Venice sending another 6,000 troops into our territory. Looks like we're going to be flung into headlong attack. We're movement locked, so we're going to attack into, it seems, 10,500 troops with our 6,000. With a -2 modifier to attack. Really could do with some good rolls. Get an even roll in the shock phase. Why are you winning these battles? Well, part of the reason is because of our high prestige, increases our morale, and we have a fantastic general. So we're going to win this battle. And Venice is going to attack again, this time with 9,005 troops. We have only 4,000 left. We are going to be able to extricate ourselves from the province, so we're going to retreat as fast as we can, literally with not a moment to lose, and we're going to run away. Now we're availing sort of the maneuverability doctrine I stress when playing EU4. They will not accept peace. They still want Albania. So we're not going to give them peace, we're going to fight them to the bitter end. Confident in our Grand General Skanderbeg, who occupied mythological proportions in the Albanian consciousness, and historically fought against both the Ottomans and the Venetians as we did. Skanderbeg would be proud. So we're going to utilise our general's superior manoeuvre to ensure that the 10,000 man Venetian Doom Stack isn't able to capture our severely depleted army. And if you're looking, we are an Eastern Tech group, which means that we need a lot of Military Monarch points to get up to Military Tech level 4. But our Monarch points are getting extremely high, and there we go. Military Tech level 4, that's going to give us increased military tactics. With already high morale and our great general, our small force, and heavily depleted it is going to run rampant against the Venetian army. Now we're going to do what I said about earlier. To fight this battle against the Venetians, we're going to hire a mercenary cavalry regiment, and boy is that expensive. Had to take out a lot of loans to do that. We're also going to take out a few more loans to recruit another mercenary infantry unit and try and bring our army up to strength. We have bankruptcy looming, which is not good. Focus on reoccupying Zeta, hopefully get that cord. It's going to give us a bit more money. A new Venetian army arises, 3,100 troops, immediately attacks, stack wipe it. You can really see the benefit of having a higher military tech level paying off now. Consolidate our regiments. Will Venice accept peace now? It appears they will. We have acquired 34% war score by winning every battle and stack wiping that last enemy army. We're going to be able to sue for peace with Venice, get 76 ducas, and the war with Venice is over. Our situation is looking significantly better now. We have 0 manpower. We're still at risk of bankruptcy. And we have a lot of mercenary regiments, so we're not out of the woods yet. Bearing in mind, we still have to close out this war with Bosnia quickly. If we don't, the Ottomans are at risk of declaring war on us. The quicker we end the war, the quicker we're able to ally with either Poland or Austria. So, Bosnia still has 7,600 troops. We're going to move into Skokie first. Fight a defensive battle, getting appalling shock rolls, 2 to 8. 7 to 4, that's a little better. We're going to defeat that enemy army, all the while suffering more and more casualties. Our war exhaustion must be horrific at this point. We're going to pursue that army. We've now got rebel factions looming, so we're going to have to use military power to reduce the risk of revolt. We're not out of the woods yet, folks. We can still become bankrupt, we can be attacked by the Ottomans, and we have to close out this war with Bosnia. Alright, we're not going to be able to attack that army because the fortification blocks us, impedes our movement. You can see we're going to have to run all the way around through Hungary in order to stack right that army, so the better idea is focus on occupying their provinces. Don't focus on sieging yet. Bide our time, wait for their army morale to replenish, and wait for them to move out of that province. Donji Kraji, I believe that's how it's pronounced. Next turn we'll seek to lower our rebel revolt risk from Montenegrin separatists, using some military power. Occupy those provinces. They won't accept peace yet. So at risk of revolt, we have the potential for bankruptcy. We have no manpower, and with the potential for being attacked by the Ottomans. Now they are moving out, their army morale has replenished. They're going to move into Bosnia, their movement lock. We're going to pursue them, seek to stack wipe this army. This may be our 50th battle. Skanderberg leading the charge valiantly. Losing more rolls. Hopefully they won't retreat to Donji Kraji. They won't, they're moving into Osoki, which is good because we can follow them there, seek to stack wipe them. And the enemy army is crushed, so from this point on, there are no more enemy troops. All we gotta do is siege down one province. We can take a castle. Then Bosnia will sue for peace. Alternatively, because we have 2 enemy provinces occupied, and we've won every battle with Bosnia, they may accept peace without losing a castle. Partially because I believe they declared war upon us, not the other way around. Yep, they're accepting peace terms. We don't want any territory, and the reason why we don't want territory is we're mindful of our aggressive expansion. It's got to be pretty high from annexing all of Serbia. What we're really concerned about is bankruptcy and looming rebels. We could prosecute the war to its conclusion to seek to vassalize them, but too much aggressive expansion. Let's take a look here. You can see Ottomans have 9. Hungary has 32, far too high, so we'll just accept peace. Seek to empty their treasury. They're only going to give us 25 ducats, unfortunately, but we'll also get war reparations, which they will give. Don't really want anything else. Have them abrogate their claims to Albania. And that'll do it. There we go. Let's immediately move to our alliances. Have improving relations paid off with any of them? Hungary, no. Poland will accept. They'll also accept a royal marriage. They've subjugated Lithuania in a personal union. I don't consider this strategy guide complete until we've got an alliance with a major world power. And we've got an alliance with Poland. That will prevent the Ottomans from attacking us. We'll use harsh treatment to suppress rebels. Being allied with Poland's great because it has the added benefit of putting us into alliance with Lithuania, and since Poland's doing well against the Teutonic Order, they'll be a reliable ally far into the future. It's a shame we couldn't ally with Austria. Maybe in your playthrough it's the reverse, you're able to ally with Austria but not Poland. Either one will do, however. Seems that only Poland will become our major ally. However, I am satisfied with that, taking into consideration the fact that Poland is a major power, one of the largest powers in Eastern Europe at this point in time. We do have a few disasters looming. We're going to disband all our mercenaries, having cemented that alliance. Check that Ottomans doesn't have a mission against us. They don't. That's good. And we have plenty of loans, a potential peasants' war, but we'll be able to boost our stability in time. Got a core coming up. We're able to accumulate enough money to stave off bankruptcy and repay some of our loans. Cement that royal marriage with Poland. We are losing money at the moment. However, if we make a few alterations and transition our economy from a grueling total war economy to mothball our fortifications, pay off some of our loans to reduce the interest rate, lower army maintenance. Well, we suffered horrific casualties. 5 years of constant total war against the Venetians, the Venetian allies, Serbia, Bosnia, all starting from a one-province minor nation. But none of that mattered. We had Skanderberg. I'm Oscar Mike, as always, thanks for watching. Oscar Mike out.